And I'm not coming for you. I promise I'm not coming for you. But I'm just saying. Hey y'all, welcome back to Tea Talks with Dell. It's me, your host Dell, and before we get into the episode today, I just want to let y'all know that I actually don't have any tea today. I know. I brought my herbal pre-rolls, but unfortunately I left my lighter in the car, so I won't be partaking in those today. So, without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and get into the episode. I don't think you need a disclaimer for today's episode, but I'm gonna give you a soft disclaimer because you might. I don't know, who knows. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. The wind is like, I wasn't expecting it to be blowing this strong. Hold on, I might need to switch out my headphones. Okay, I'm hoping that you can hear me a little bit better with these in the actual mic versus my beats with the wind, even though the wind miraculously stopped. Of course it did. But yeah, so you may or may not need a disclaimer for this episode. I'm going to give you a soft disclaimer because I know what the topic is, and for some people that don't like to hear about themselves or do any type of self-reflection or introspection, this could be a little uncomfortable, but that's basically today's topic. Today we are talking about entering our winter arc, basically, is what I've been seeing the girlies call it on TikTok and YouTube. But basically, winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
And, I mean, if you guys get the reference, then I like y'all extra. But winter is coming. It is getting colder. The leaves are starting to turn. And a lot of people are kind of just diving into what that means for themselves and what entering their winter arc is going to look like. Basically, it's talking about just growth and self-reflection and entering this period of almost hibernation and what that looks like for them in terms of development. And for me, entering this fall winter season is really just a period of self-reflection, looking at how the rest of my year has gone, because we are entering Q4, so just looking at how the rest of the year has gone, what all have I done, how do I feel about where I'm at this point in the year, and what do I need to do in order to set myself up for success for when the spring comes back around and it's time to bloom again. For me, entering the colder months, the colder seasons, if you look at cycles, I am the type of person that I like to kind of connect things to what I already know or what I'm learning at the time. Right now, I've been really diving deep into cycle syncing and what the different phases of a woman's cycle look like and how to better care for your body as you're going through those stages. And if we're looking at the cycle and in that way, right now would be considered the luteal phase, right? It's fall, autumn. I believe the actual menstruation would be considered winter. So if I'm going off of that, right, and I'm going into my luteal phase, then the luteal phase is essentially time right before your period where your body is kind of winding down, you're more tired, you're more hungry, you are gravitating towards more like roots and veggies, things that are more warming and nourishing. You want soups and teas, and you kind of just want to cozy up. You want to cuddle, probably lay somewhere with your heating pad. You want to participate in tasks that are more low energy and kind of just go into yourself. And hold on, we'll see if the wind passes a little bit. There are also people walking on the trail. This is the most public that I have recorded before. I'm feeling a little self-conscious, but we're going to keep going. But if you take those aspects of being in your luteal phase and apply that to the seasons coming and just the seasons changing and how you want to move or how to take care of yourself as we're moving into this season, I would take those same characteristics. We're entering fall, it's soup season, it's sweater season, it's cozy season. You want to cuddle up, you want to be comfortable, you want to be cozy, and this is a period of time where a lot of things go into hibernation. You got the leaves changing and falling, the trees being barren. It's time to harvest any of your crops, and then you prepare the plot for the next season. Don't listen, I'm not a professional. Don't quote every single thing I'm saying, I promise. But, it's time to clear the field. It's time to clean up any damage that happened throughout the growing season. It's time to pull up those roots and dead plants and just clean out everything so that in the springtime, when it's time for you to plant your new seeds or your new crops, your new plants, you have a clean slate. So essentially, for me, if I'm thinking about how I'm going into that season, how I'm going into this season, that is how I'm going to prepare. I'm going to be a little bit more introspective and just reflect on, again, like I said in the beginning of the episode, things that I've been learning and going through and dealing with and experiencing for the entire year up until this point. What does that look like? Am I satisfied with where I am? Is it in alignment with where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to do? And if it's not, then you have to kind of take inventory of the things that are in your life and say, okay, well, if this isn't working, what does work? What will work? And that is something that can be uncomfortable for a lot of people, just sitting with yourself and looking at yourself and your own actions and your own habits and things that you do, and just saying, okay, this is not lined up with where I say I want to go, who I say I want to be, and what can I do to change that and to actually become that person or to show up in that way. It can be very uncomfortable to just sit there and look at yourself, but it's very necessary. And I know that it's harder to do in this day and age with technology and social media and all of these different things that you can use to turn your attention to avoid yourself, right? You're never truly alone if you're sitting here scrolling on Instagram for 3 hours. You're not by yourself. You're on Instagram. I'm not by myself. I'm on TikTok. I'm doom scrolling. My mind is not with myself. My mind is elsewhere. But if you actually sit there with yourself, and this is why I find that meditation is really helpful, because it helps you sit in that discomfort and become comfortable with it. But just listening to yourself, listening to your thoughts, kind of just checking in with yourself and sitting with how you feel. It's very necessary. It's very important. When you are doing all of this self-reflection and just taking inventory of your life and your habits and the people that are around you and your environment, and deciding whether or not that aligns with the version of yourself that you are working to become, you can find yourself being very critical of yourself. And this doesn't just apply to doing it this one time of the year. This comes with any type of self-growth and self-development. When you start to really look at yourself and the things that you're doing and your habits, and it's not aligning with the life that you say you want to live, you can become very overly critical of yourself. And that's when you have to remember to give yourself grace, because the person that you are now and the person that you are becoming are two different people, and there are going to be versions of you in between. Nobody is perfect. Growth is not linear. It doesn't happen overnight. So you have to have patience with yourself and give yourself that grace to just know that you are a work in progress, but you are beautiful and worthy even in the process of it. That was slightly off topic, but I just wanted to kind of put that note in there, especially because we're talking about self-growth, self-development. A lot of people don't acknowledge the guilt and shame that can come from that, from being overly critical and just thinking about things that you've done in the past or are doing that don't align with where you want to be. But it's this consciousness of, or it's this awareness. Once you're aware of it and you start taking the steps to do better and changing those habits, that is what matters. And you're not always going to be perfect in that. Again, in between where you are now and where you want to be, there are versions of you in between that aren't where you are now. Hopefully they're farther than where you are now, but they're not exactly at where you want to be just yet. So you have to understand that, and you have to understand that you are a work in progress, but in the same breath, you're not a project, right? Live your life, enjoy your life. You don't have to constantly be trying to find ways to improve yourself, because you are always worthy. Sorry, I wrote notes this time because I tend to ramble. But yeah, again, so we're entering winter. It's a period of hibernation. For me personally, it is not a season of isolation, but it's definitely a period of time where I'm spending more time with myself and being more present and aware in my own body, and for one, just noticing where I am, how I behave, how I think, and just becoming aware of that. It's hard to know where to go without knowing where you're starting. So that's kind of piggybacking off of my last update that I gave you about me just spending more time with myself and prioritizing that and just being more present in moments. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. And in doing that, I'm also enjoying my life. I am enjoying all the moments. I'm not completely isolating myself or cutting people off unless I find that they don't align with where I'm trying to go. You can't take everybody with you. Everybody is not coming with me. I'm sorry. I love y'all to death. Everybody can't go where I'm trying to go because everybody isn't on the same level that I'm on, and that's not me saying that I'm better than anybody, but that's just saying that my path is different, and one way to propel me forward is to be surrounded by people who are maybe not on the same exact path, but they're on a similar path, on a similar journey. It's hard to talk to people and try to relate to people who aren't doing anything that looks remotely like what you're doing. So surrounding yourself with people who are on the same path as you and going the same way that you're going can help propel you forward. I'm not sure that I necessarily have anything more to add. We're talking about our winter arc. I feel like the most important things that I just want you to be aware of as we're moving into this season is just honoring what's happening energetically and what you're feeling intuitively, and just being in tune with nature in the seasons, because we are all supposed to be working together. So just kind of reflecting nature. This is when things are slowing down, leaves are falling, it seems like things are dying, but you have to remember that, for one, what is dead may never die. No, okay. But for one, just because it looks like it's dying doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually dying. It's just conserving its energy to get through the colder months, the slower seasons, so that when spring comes back around and it's time to bloom, it can do so beautifully. So whether that looks like taking on less work or focusing on really perfecting your craft, or spending more time with yourself and less time with other people, or maybe cutting out social media, doing some type of social media detox or technology detox to whatever extent that you can. But just taking that time to slow down and honor your body, honor the season of rest that we're entering. We're entering a season of rest. It's a great time to just reflect on so many different things and really just be present, be aware, and decide if the version of yourself that you have been this year is in alignment with the version of yourself that you are hoping to become or hoping to grow into. And if it's not, what can you do about it? How can you change that? How can you grow so that you are now moving in alignment with the life that you want to live and the version of yourself that you want to be? And what does that look like? So things that I would say are good to pay attention to are habits that you have. Do you want to read more? Do you want to be more active? Do you want to spend more time outdoors? What do you do in your free time? Do you have hobbies? If you don't have hobbies, or if you don't really do anything in your free time besides scroll on social media. And I'm not coming for you. I promise I'm not coming for you. But I'm just saying, like, if these are things that you notice about yourself, maybe this is a time where you find your interests, find your hobbies, find things that you enjoy to do besides constantly working on yourself, right? As great as it can be to listen to these podcasts and read the self-help books and watch these documentaries, like, that doesn't have to be what you enjoy doing in your free time. I find the podcasts, the documentaries, and the books very helpful, but sometimes I just want to read a book for fun. Sometimes I just want to watch a trashy rom-com and laugh and cry and eat the brownie and do these things that just make me feel good. So I would say that now is definitely a time to just, besides constantly trying to improve yourself, it's to find yourself, to really be in tune with yourself and the things that bring you joy and the things that make you feel replenished, the things that fill your cup, the things that make you feel like life is worth living. Now is definitely the time to think about that and keep that in mind while you're moving through life right now. And it's okay to try something and not like it, but it's better to try it and not like it than to not try it at all, because you never know. You literally never know what you will end up enjoying and being passionate about or find exciting. So try things without judging yourself and without fear of being judged. And if you don't like it, you literally don't have to do it ever again. So these are just things to keep in mind as we enter winter, enter fall, autumn, however you want to say it. Winter is coming, okay? Winter is coming, and these are things that will help you prepare and help you get through it. Just remember, it's cozy season, it's cozy weather. While you're doing all of this reflection and hibernation, just remember to be kind to yourself. I love the wind, but she doesn't want me to be great today. Hold on. Yeah. So just as we are entering winter, entering our winter arc, winter era, just remember that you are not a project. Yes, it's necessary to grow and evolve and change and be aware of the person that you are so that you can take direct action to become the person that you want to be, to get from point A to point B, right? It's important to be self-aware. It's important to know things about yourself, but life is for living. Life is to be enjoyed. So while you are doing all of this introspection and finding out who you are, remember to have fun, and remember that you have to find the things that bring you joy as well. And a lot of times those things that bring you joy will help you realize and actualize what your purpose is and what you feel like you were put on this earth here to do. Because a lot of times those things will come to you naturally. There'll be things that you naturally are passionate about. So just pay attention to how all of these different things make you feel, because that is the most telling thing of them all. So that is what I have for you today. As always, I hope that you have a day that's as beautiful and wonderful and magical as you are, and I will catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.